Right now, there is loneliness epidemic spreading across the world. The World Health Organization has declared it a global health crisis. The US Surgeon General called it a national emergency. Scientists are saying that chronic loneliness is as damaging to your body as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And here's what everyone is arguing about. Can AI fix it? Millions of people are already turning to AI companions, chatbots, digital friends, virtual relationships, because they can't find real connection anymore. But nobody, and I mean nobody in this conversation, is asking the most important question. Why are people so disconnected in the first place? Because I think I know that answer. And it has nothing to do with technology. It has something to do with your face. Stay with me because I'm about to tell you something that's gonna reframe the entire crisis in a way you have never heard before. Here is what the researchers are finding about the loneliness epidemic that is making headlines everywhere right now. People are not just short on social opportunities. They are surrounded by other people at work, on the street, in cafes, on their phones, and they are still desperately, profoundly feeling lonely. And a psychologist at MIT named Dr. Sherry Turkle put her finger on something that stopped me when I read it. She said that AI offers a connection without vulnerability. And that's exactly why it doesn't work. Because real connection, the kind that actually moves the needle on loneliness, requires you to show up fully unguarded and real. And most people have completely forgotten how to do that. Not because they don't want to do it or they're too scared, but because a long time ago, much longer ago than social media, much longer ago than smartphones, something happened and taught them the real face is not safe to show. Now I want you to go back. Way back, think about yourself as a child. Before you knew anything about being professional, adult. Before you cared about how you looked, before any of that. You were just alive in your face, completely. Someone made you laugh and your whole body laughed. Something surprised you and your eyes went wide and your mouth dropped open and you didn't think for even 1 second what that looked like. You were just there, real, unfiltered, and free and funny. And then at some point, someone said something. Maybe it was another kid in your class. Maybe it was an adult you trusted. Maybe it was a parent, a teacher, someone at a family dinner. And they looked at your face, your completely natural, completely human face, and they said something like, "Why do you always make that stupid face?" Or maybe it was crueler than that. Maybe they laughed at you on top of it. Maybe they called you dramatic. Maybe they said you looked stupid. This one got steep. Maybe they told you that you were behaving like an animal, a monkey, you were not a human, that your expressions were embarrassing to the humankind, that you were too much. And you were just a child. You didn't have the words to defend yourself. You didn't have the emotional tools to say no. This is just my face. This is just me feeling my face and being alive. So instead, you did what every child does when they get hurt in that particular way. You go quiet on the inside and you start to watch your own face. Manage the face, shrink the face, make sure it never gave anyone ammunition to say anything bad again. And that decision made by a child who just didn't want to be laughed at or mocked, that decision can follow you into your adulthood, into the career, into the relationship, into every room you walk ever since. Does that sound familiar? Because if it does, what I'm about to say next is the part that changes everything. So you built a mask, a controlled face, a face that says, I'm calm, I'm serious, I'm not moved by things. No one can see through me. So you started wearing it everywhere, in meetings, on the street, social events, even with people you actually like. We suppress our expression because we have been taught, directly or indirectly, that being too expressive means being weak. Smile too much, you're weak and naive. Show that something moved you deeply, you're suddenly unprofessional. So we perform composure. Go neutral, go cold. But here is the brutal irony, the one that ties everything back to that loneliness epidemic I mentioned in the start. We are walking around every single day, surrounded by other people who are doing exactly the same thing. Everyone performing seriousness, everyone hiding behind a controlled face, everyone waiting for someone else to be real first. And then everyone goes home and feels completely alone, completely unexpressed, detached from the world and from itself. And now millions of them, millions of people like this, are turning to AI companions to fill the void, because at least the chatbot responds. At least something reacts, something that cannot see your face. But here is what research actually shows. And this is the part the headlines keep missing. A study published just this year compared people who spent 2 weeks texting with an AI companion against people who spent 2 weeks texting with a real human stranger. The AI was designed to be a perfect listener, empathetic, available, never judgmental, everything you could ever want. And it made almost no difference to loneliness, none that really lasted. But the human stranger, imperfect, unpredictable, real, actually, he moved the needle. And researchers at MIT found out why. Because humans evolved to feel good, especially specifically when they can hear someone's tone of voice. They can see their facial expressions like you see mine right now, and they can read their body language. That's what your nervous system was built for. That's what registers as real. When we suppress the face, when we flatten the face, as I'm supposed to do while filming this video, we control it, we hide it. We are removing the very signal that tells another human brain, I'm here, I'm real, just like you, not above you, I'm not perfect, but you are safe with me. Now I'm going to tell you what it does to you internally. It doesn't just affect the people around you, it's doing something to you on the inside. When you suppress a genuine expression, when you feel something and consciously choose not to show it, your nervous system registers it as a threat response. Your body says, ooh, something's wrong. Hide, alert, alarm. Over time, that becomes chronic tension in your jaw, in your shoulders, in your chest. That low-level fatigue you carry after a social event where technically nothing happened, but it's a feeling of being drained by simply being around people. That's not introversion, not being an introvert. That's the cost of imagining and managing a face that is not yours. You're not saving energy that way. You are spending enormous amounts of energy every single day only to keep your mask on. And the people you are performing for, do you know what the secret about them really is? The same people you're putting the mask for, they don't even prefer that mask. I promise you that. Let's talk about what you actually do about this. The first one is mirror work, but not the way you think. Sit in front of a mirror for 2 minutes. Not to fix anything, not to rehearse, just to watch your face at rest. Notice how controlled it already is, even when no one is watching. Then, deliberately, let an expression move through. Just smile for no reason. Look surprised for no reason. Let your face go somewhere it doesn't usually go, in weird places, The goal is to reconnect with the physical sensation of a free expression because many people have suppressed this so long they have lost the felt sense of what it even feels like. The second practice is called expression journaling. At the end of each day, write down one moment where you felt something and you hid it. Just one, describe what you felt like a diary, what you showed instead of that, and what were you afraid would happen if you had been real. 3 things to write down. The third is low stakes practice in public. You start with strangers you will never see again, a cashier, someone in an elevator. Let one genuine expression through, a real smile, real reaction, and observe their response. This is exposure work. You are teaching the nervous system to repeat its real experience that showing your face does not result in rejection. And the fourth, which is the most important one, is to actively study faces. Watch interviews, conversations, pay attention to the people who feel the most alive on screen, the most attractive energetically. Study what they actually do with the face. Notice the micro expressions, the way a real reaction moves through the eye first, before the mouth follows. Start building a new reference point for what natural expressiveness actually looks like, because many of us have been surrounded by suppressed faces for so long we have lost the model entirely. The face you've been hiding is not a flaw that needs to be managed. It is a skill that needs to be reclaimed. And like every skill, it comes back with practice. Patiently, consistently, one real expression at a time. You start tonight, 2 minutes. One mirror, just your face. Read through the video. Pause when you need it. Takes it all. That's all it takes to begin to change.